Scooby Doo has been a gigantic franchise ever since it released in 1969, and with a franchise going on for so long, there's going to be a lot of changes to the show's characters and formula that will be made. New locations, new characters, and even assassinating characters that everyone knows and loves. One notable change in the Scooby-Doo's franchise is with the movie Scooby Doo on Zombie Island, released in 1998, which is known for its dark atmosphere and, as so said in the advertisement, for being the first time where the monsters were real. This isn't necessarily true, though. In the 80s, Scooby-Doo has released many movies or episodes where the monsters were in fact real, such as The Ghoul School, Boo's Brothers, Hassel at Dracula's Castle, and most notably the show The 13 Ghosts of Scooby-Doo, though it's possible that either A, since Scrappy-Doo was part of all these productions and they seem to want to forget about him, they just pretend that none of these happened, or B, they just really wanted to ramp up the marketing for Zombie Island, and what's better than saying, this time, the monsters are real. Now, I watched Scooby-Doo plenty as a child and saw advertisements for Zombie Island, but never watched the movie itself. But hey, it's Month of Spooks, so it's the perfect time to check it out. Let's see how the scares in Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island has held up. Of course, the movie opens up to the gang being chased by a giant green monster while a cover of the original Scooby-Doo theme plays, and this monster is flat out about to murder three of them. Well, let's hope that the guy in the costume is alright with 3 counts of attempted murder on his record.
He was printing millions of counterfeit dollars in the basement with his printing press.
Ooh, and printing fake money? Might as well lock him up and throw away the key now. Well, it turns out that this was a flashback, as we see that the gang has decided to go their own separate ways after the monsters that they always went after turned out to be just people in costumes, with Daphne being a reporter on her own TV show, and Fred being her producer and one-man crew. Shaggy and Scooby work in airport security, searching for contraband food, and Velma works in a mystery bookstore, but when Daphne is planning on going ghost hunting for her new show and seems sad that the rest of the gang won't be there to help, Fred, being the golden retriever that he is, contacts the gang to surprise Daphne for her birthday, which is definitely a good thing for Shaggy and Scooby as they just got fired for eating all the contraband food. The gang heads down to New Orleans, trying to find ghosts and monsters along the way, but of course, all of them are fake, which you can't have that for national TV now, can you? But luckily, they get a lead when a lady named Lena tells them about Moonscar Island down in the bayou, and offers to take them down there. There's rumors of ghosts, including the ghost of the pirate captain Moonscar, as well as strange disappearances, so it seems like the best chance they got right now. Along the way, they come across more colorful and suspicious characters. Jacques, the captain of the ferry that takes them to the island.
Well, if they want haunted, they come to the right place.
And a fisher named Snakebite and his hunting pig, who save Shaggy and Scooby's butts from being alligator food. But other than that, he doesn't really have that much relevance other than being maybe some slapstick.
I can't stand tourists.
Honestly though, valid. And then of course at the actual house, there's Scooby acting like a jerk. Okay, lovely. We do meet Miss Leno and her gardener Beau. Her house, of course, is on a pepper plantation, and she does claim that the house is haunted. Miss Leno, or Simone, does agree to let them film her house, which I'm surprised with the bad first impression made, but oh well. Though it doesn't take too long for the ghost to get restless, as the words "Get out, beware" is carved into the wall, and Velma is levitated into the air, and after Velma destroys half the wallpaper in the kitchen, it's discovered that parts of the house is made with the remains of Captain Moonscar's ship, which might be why his ghost is haunting the place. And apparently, there's treasure still left on the island that hasn't been found.
Treasure?
He said the thing!
Shaggy and Scooby decide to get some fresh air and grab a bite to eat, and of course Scooby gets carried away chasing Simone's cats and ends up pissing Snakebite off in the process, who sends his hunting pig Mojo after them, and they get chased into a deep pit. Well, so far this seems like normal Scooby-Doo shenanigans. When are we actually going to see the darker moment? Oh. They barely escape the zombified Moonscar and run into Beau. Poor dude deserves a raise for dealing with these shenanigans, and everyone else follows them to the pit where they found the body. However, despite the ghosts and zombies, Daphne decides it's best to ignore the red flags and stay to get more footage for her show, and Simone seems more than happy to let them stay the night, as the ferry won't run until morning. Though the house won't let them get settled for long, as a ghost comes out of Shaggy and Scooby's bedroom mirror, and judging by the nameplate on the back, it seems to be the ghost of Colonel Jackson Pettigrew, and we find out that that not only were there ghost pirates, but there used to be Confederate barracks on the island as well. Everyone decides to settle down for dinner, and while Scooby chases after the cats as usual, the rest of the gang decides to ask Simone about Bo, as they seem to be most suspicious of him so far.
This is quite enough! The dog will have to eat outside!
Outside?
Oh no, it's the consequences of your actions. Well, at least he has Shaggy to keep him company in the mystery van, since these two bros are ride or die together. But when the cats decide to interrupt their seafood boil, the duo decide to drive the mystery machine further away for some peace and quiet, which probably wasn't the brightest move. What are you two doing? Do you want brain-eating amoeba? Well, unfortunately, I think a certain someone has dibs on their brain already. But these zombies don't get their supper yet, as Shaggy and Scooby manage to escape, getting the mystery van stuck in the process and running into Bo on the way out. You know, they're really trying to pin suspicion on him, but I feel like he honestly just wants time away from all these crazy people that just arrived to the island. Can't say I blame him. Fred, Daphne, and Velma decide to go look for Shaggy and Scooby after hearing them scream in the distance. They decide to look with Bo and split into two groups, with, of course, Velma and Fred throwing shade at Bo, and Bo is understandably tired of it. Well, hey Bo, I understand where you're coming from, but...
Quicksand.
Oh, okay.
Thanks, but you're still a suspect.
Are you serious right now, bro?
Daphne and Fred do come across the mystery machine, also bumping into Scooby, Shaggy, and one of the zombies. We then probably have the most memorable moment as they try to unmask the zombie.
Maybe it's real.
I could just hear the 5-year-olds crying and having nightmares right now. And now we get the most badass song for a Scooby Doo chase scene ever. The gang does manage to get away, with Daphne and Fred reuniting with Bo and Velma. Meanwhile, Shaggy and Scooby discover voodoo dolls of the rest of the gang in a cave, which seemed to be what made Velma float earlier in the film, but who made the dolls? Daphne, Velma, Bo, and Fred make it back to the house, where they find Alina in a secret passageway. She claims that Simone got dragged away by zombies, which Velma is rather skeptical of, as there doesn't seem to be any drag marks in the dirt. Allow us to put on our skepticals. But they ignore every red flag that's hoisted up and follow Lena to bring them further into the secret passageway. And what do we know? Lena and Simone are the bad guys, and also seem to be the ones who made the voodoo dolls. And all of you wanted to suspect Bo this whole time. I bet y'all feel like a bunch of silly gooses now. Well, we get the details of Lena and Simone's evil plan, as it turns out they're werecats, and need to drain the life force of mortals every harvest moon in order to preserve their immortality. Oh yeah, and the ferryman Jock is also a werecat. Didn't see that one coming. We also get Lena and Simone's backstory. As it turns out, they were originally settlers that lived on the island and worshipped their cat god. However, Moonscar and his crew drove most of the settlers into the bayou, where they ended up being eaten alive by alligators. Well, that's dark. They then made a wish to be able to get revenge on the pirates, which their cat god then transformed them into werecats, and they destroyed the pirates. After gaining their powers, it became necessary for them to drain the life force of unsuspecting victims in order to stay immortal, which they have done to the people who built the plantation on their island, as well as people they lured in. And the zombies seem to be the victims that were trying to warn the gang to get off the island. Scooby and Shaggy nearly get caught by Jacques, but luckily a horde of zombies saves them. They then make it to the cave, save everyone before their life force is taken, and manage to keep the werecats at bay until their time is up, freeing the souls of the zombies as well. Daphne is dismayed that there is no video proof left for her show after Fred dropped the video camera into quicksand, and Bo reveals that he's actually a detective that went undercover to look into the island's disappearances. You know what would have been a very helpful tool that you could have brought, Detective Bo? A gun. But everything ends up okay as Daphne invites Bo for an interview on her TV show, and everyone leaves the island in high spirits, with some sussy cats following them onto the boat. Alright, so let's see how we're feeling about Scooby Doo on Zombie Island. So it's a pretty above average Scooby Doo adventure. Things don't start picking up in the scare department until much later, but once the zombies start coming in and we hear the backstories of Lena and Simone, I do have to say it does get pretty dark. We do also get some good music and some really good atmosphere and backgrounds. And since the monsters are real in this one, the stakes do feel higher, though I do have to say say, Scooby has been constantly causing trouble for the gang and being inconsiderate throughout the entire movie, and I know he's a dog, so the joke is going to be that he hates cats and stuff, but I don't know, I'm not a huge fan of Scooby when he's characterized like this in general, but otherwise it's a good nostalgic flick, and perfect for kids on Halloween, just perhaps not super young. The third act might give him nightmares. Alright, and that's our first film to kick off Month of Spooks. Hopefully this brought back some haunting childhood memories for you, but we're not done yet.
So stay tuned.